Welcome back to another episode of the Patio Pondering Podcast, where we're after clear thinking in a complex agricultural world. You know, many of the conversations I have revolve around agriculture, production, marketing, and technology, but ag takes many shapes in people. Farm life teaches us responsibility, consequences, work ethic, and sometimes those lessons show up later in life, long after we've left the farm. Today's guest is a longtime friend of mine, Terry Sible. Terry's somebody that served as a beacon for a lot of people. He grew up on a farm outside of Churubusco, Indiana, and over time his journey took him away from the farm to places that nobody expected Terry would go. So welcome to the studio, Terry.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
Terry, you've had quite a journey from your farm in northwest Allen County to where you are today. How has your experience starting with the farm helped you become a mentor and a teacher of at-risk youth?
Well, growing up on the farm and having that farm community friends has been huge in everything that's happened when I was 18, when I was in my car accident. A lot of times people at that time, they have a chance or are lean to kind of be to themselves and things like that. And the farm community and 4-H and FFA, they all really were supportive of me with the benefits and things like that to help me get a vehicle. Those were all huge. And so that helped me get active and go to college and everything like that. So the ag community there was a big boost for me. And so to where I'm at now, I was like, okay, why am I here? And why did this happen? Kind of questions that all go through people's minds. And I didn't know that at first. And I went to Purdue as ag econ major and wanted to stay in the ag field. And then just different doors opened up and I found myself, working at schools. And then I was wondering what else I could do. And I wanted to get more down to the, why for kids and that there's where I'm at now is I get a lot of kids. I have 100 consumers that I work with. I go to schools and things like that and just help them open doors for their kids, with disabilities and that. So far that's my why.
Well, you have I won't say cool why because you have an interesting why. And as I was looking at your LinkedIn profile, there's a couple of things that stuck out. And your descriptor that has you as mental health professional is a descriptor that none of us 30 years ago would have put on Terry Sible.
No.
We would have said Terry was mental, but not a mental health professional.
I think that same thing. I'm like, wow, I could have used me back then.
If only I could have talked to myself when I was 16.
Yeah, that maturity, it changes a lot. So, and we see that with kids that we're raising now, is how they change and mature, and it's like, wow. So,
has your being in the wheelchair made the lessons that you had on the farm and how you teach your children and lead your teams, made those lessons sharper?
Yes, it's the family atmosphere in that, and when I meet families that I work with, it's like, you're okay, you're going to ask a lot of real personal questions, and hopefully, they're going to open up to you, and it's a family atmosphere for everybody. So that there made me sharper there as far as that's the ag community it was when I grew up, at least. It's getting smaller and smaller, unfortunately, where we live. But yeah, that's another story for you to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Well, you had mentioned part of your journey to becoming a helper of children is a why for kids. And I think a lot of things we do on the farm as youngsters is why. Why does this grow? Why does the pig do this? And I don't mean why as in questioning God, but a why as an inquisitive sense.
Yep. Yeah. My why wasn't questioning on why did you do this in an angry way, but It was more of a, why did you do this for me to help others? Because I was going along pretty good, planning my life. At 18, I was going to go to a junior college and judge some livestock at Blackhawk and come back and farm on the farm. But, he had a different plan for me. So that's why I was asking, okay, why? And I've looked in a lot of different areas in the disabled community on where I could go. But I think back to where when I was at Purdue, I always liked those humanity classes, sociology and psych and those. And I wish I'd opened my eyes at that time to started in this field. But
Well, what you just opened a door to is what I'm using, and I think a lot of people in the way past call a liberal education. I mean, liberal with a small L. Exposing yourself to things outside of your specialty, and in essence, taking those blinders off.
yes, I was so focused on farming that nothing else was an opportunity, and it was that way at Purdue and stuff. And it really helps if kids do have that broader outlook and go with their heart a little more than what's on paper, I guess. So.
Is that a lesson that you used when you worked at Bowen? Some of those at-risk youth that you and I talked about that you worked with?
Yeah, at Bowen, it was mainly the kids were focused on their issue and things like that. And so you just try to say, hey, there's other options out there and things like that. So I guess at that point I was using that and I didn't even know it. So
there you go. As I was preparing for this and thinking about Terry Sible, when you show up at a party or a gathering, it's, hey, Terry, get your butt over here and get a beer. And none of the people that we associate with say, oh, shit, there's Terry. We need to make it easy so he gets over here. What have you done in your life to make sure that Terry Sible's just another dude?
I've just mainly been myself, I guess. I haven't let anything hold me back. But yeah, I just try to be, that's what I've tried to do my whole life, is try to go on without the chair and hold me back on anything. And luckily, at AGR and that, they built a new house that was totally accessible because those laws just came in. And the ADA laws just happened and their house burnt down. And so when they built a new one, it was wheelchair accessible. And so a lot of those laws have helped me along the way. But again, it goes back to that FFA and 4-H that raised the funds for me to buy my first van that allowed me that ability to get out and move around and be active. And so many people, when they first get in that, when it's a sudden disability, I mean, you don't know any resources or anything. So that money was huge for me at the time. I was very appreciative.
One of the lessons that I think in particular with our upbringing in 4-H is patience. And you had a lot of success working with cattle. You got to have a lot of patience to halter break them, get them used to the chute, get them used to being worked. That has to be a lesson that you use when you're working with these youth that are in a I have to have it now mentality.
Yeah, and you learn that in the chair too. I mean, Tanya, my wife, she always yells at me, why did it take you an hour and a half to get groceries at Walmart? And I was like, well, I go down an aisle, and if I can't reach something, I wait for somebody to walk by. And I mean, just everything that in a wheelchair, you are dependent on a lot of assistance, and so it really builds your patience. So.
As you're working with your kids, my kids, and the children that you work in your roles, what do kids need that we adults typically miss?
Just that positive influence. A lot of the kids that I work with, everything is so negative in their life. On the family side, at school, just life in general, their friends, they don't have friends, a lot of the kids I work with. And so that's the main thing, is just positive support. And that's what I work with them at their IEPs at school and stuff. I try to make that a positive experience, because a kid's acting bad at school, it's because he doesn't enjoy being there. So let's try to make it to where it's successful and positive for him, and they'll maybe want to go back and participate instead of fight all the time.
Well, you used in your description on LinkedIn carrots, that you use carrots all the time. With those youth that you don't have a lot in common with, I mean, you're a white guy in a wheelchair that grew up on a farm.
Yes.
How can you give some carrots or some positive affirmations, rewards for these youth that you work with?
Yeah, I mean, but we all get them. I mean, everybody's wanting a raise. Everybody wants a bonus. All that stuff is adult carrots. And so you find something that motivates the kid. And that's the teacher's responsibility, and the parents and them, to say, okay, wow, they really enjoyed getting a good grade. Well, some kids don't care if they get good grades. So let's reward them for not having an outbreak during the day. Hey, they were upset. They successfully went down to the office and asked for help. Reward that with a little snack, Just, you can find different ways to reward, and it happens to everybody, even if you don't admit it. So adults and all of us like little rewards. So
As you were talking, you trying to find out what makes a child or even a teacher or a parent click, that involves questioning, interviewing, being inquisitive. Those are the same things that we teach our sales teams.
yes.
How are you able to ask your questions to get to the heart of what's really affecting a kid?
Well, the biggest thing is trust. I mean, you're asking kind of personal questions, so they need to trust you. And that's a big thing. When you're asking these kind of questions and getting answers that affect their lives personally. So that's the number one thing. So,
does the wheelchair help you engender trust more quickly?
I think to a point. I'm not as intimidating as a 6-foot white man coming into their house and standing over the kids and that.
Easy. You might be talking about me.
Yes, you. You could be intimidating, I'm sure. So
Maybe.
I come in and I joke, I'm like 4'3", and the kids are really fascinated with the wheelchair. That's what I hate the most, is when kids come up and they're like, "Oh, what does this do?" What, even in public, and the parents are like, "Don't bother him, don't bother him." I'm like, they're not bothering me. So this is fun. Technology. There's a joystick. Man, my games have joysticks.
Wow. How many times have you used that as an icebreaker with a kid?
Oh, a lot of times.
Then you just become another dude that's playing with an electronic device,
Yep.
not the guy that's trying to make sure that you don't do bad things.
Yep. And the parents, they love my truck, so they're like, "Wow."
That's
cool.
true.
So,
For my audience, the one thing about Terry, when he gets in that truck, he hammers down.
oh, well.
He is not afraid to use the accelerator. There has to be a point where the wheelchair in those conversations either does one of two things, and it seems like it can go two ways. One, it just continues the conversation, or it becomes an impediment because you've done your job, Terry. Now you and your wheelchair go off and help another kid.
Yeah, I don't get that a whole lot. So,
Well, that's good.
Usually, if you're there helping people, it's like, okay, can you keep doing it? If that was successful, it is. So, I've never had many people identify my wheelchair first before me. So that's a benefit, I guess. So.
Well, it's helpful that you're a nice guy.
Yeah. Most of the time. So.
Most of the time. Now, you have two children. They're same age as my kids. They're normal. I don't mean... Well, hold on a second. I don't know about
Put that in quotes.
Aquos, they're normal. No, they're just another two kids. They played football at Carroll. They showed pigs. Was that easy for you and your ex-wife to raise them just like everybody else, or did the wheelchair get in the way?
Oh, it made things a little more difficult. It made them grow up faster. At the time, they probably didn't like that. A lot of dads, they're cleaning the pens and doing the feeding and everything for the kids. But you know what? My boys had to. I always joke with Dylan. I'm like, yeah, you were the first 3-year-old that was changing diapers, because mom went to work and dad was there and dad couldn't get that stupid sticker off of that diaper. So he was doing it at 3 years old. So yeah, they grew up fast, but they might not have liked it then, but now, Dylan's married and has kids, and he's kind of thankful that, hey, I sure learned a lot of life growing up that other kids of his other friends never had to experience.
That is one thing that we talk about with farm kids. They get to experience things that most other kids did. Think about your kids, the classmates your sons went to school with at Carroll. You talk about pigs, they'd be like, You gave them different experiences because they had to help and had to be present around the house differently because of the challenges that taking care of their dad had.
Yep.
That had to help them.
Yeah. Like I said, at the time, they might not have enjoyed it, but it sure helped them move along in life and things like that.
So let's think back to that farm or Northwest Allen County. What was the most enjoyable or the most fun thing you look forward to in a year on the farm?
When I was farming, I couldn't wait till school got out. I mean, I loved farming. I mean, if I got in trouble at school and I got sent home, that was the best thing that could happen, because I wanted to be out, on the tractor, even if it was cleaning pins, that was what I loved about farm life, was just being outdoors and doing stuff, think back, back to the blizzard, everybody's like, oh, it was so cold and horrible. And it was like, it was awesome. We used snowmobiles to feed the pigs out, and we had to shovel out to get them out of their huts outside. But agriculture was so much different back then than it is now. So.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting for Nate to share his experiences when he graduates and the types of pigs and types of operations he's working with. They're going to be so foreign to what you were exposed to as a child.
Yeah, that's he's experienced a little bit of that with his summer internships. Mm-hmm. And when he was doing those, I was like, before he started, like at mash offs, I was like, okay, buddy, you're going to see a lot of pigs that aren't very show pig oriented. I'm all white, no bone, and, their numbers is what they are, and they produce numbers, and that's how that industry is. And he's really gravitated to it and is excited for his opportunities. So.
Yeah, those slab-sided, tall, thin-boned, high back market hogs that he's going to be evaluating are a lot different than those show pigs that he plays with.
Yes, it is. So.
What was it in your upbringing or showing pigs that flipped the switch in Nate that he decided that I want to work with pigs?
Yeah, I think it was partially due to me being in the wheelchair and him having to do stuff. And he just fell in love with cleaning the pens and feeding. Feeding was his big thing that he really got into, is mixing up different rations and that for each pig, depending on what they look like and things. And that really made him enjoy it. And that's what he initially went to Purdue. He wanted to focus on nutrition, but those opportunities aren't quite as available as other ones. So, as you know, the nutrition side, that's your profession.
That's my profession. Yes, it's changed a lot since you and I graced the halls of Lilly Hall in 1989.
Yes, sir.
In your career at Purdue, is there anything that stands out as a high watermark or changing event that really made you stay, made you get your degree and not give up?
It was the fraternities, and that was, again, being at AGR, it's like a family. We all have similar backgrounds, similar goals. And when I was 18 when I was in my accident, so everything was new at the time. And so moving out of the house, going down there was a huge step. Scary first start, but having familiar guys in the house and stuff that I previously knew, do 4-H and stuff, that really helped out a lot. But that was a huge thing that opened up my life and made me more productive, I think. So,
do you think growing up on a farm and all the experiences that your family had made it easier for your mom to let newly paralyzed Terry in his wheelchair go to Purdue 2.5 hours away?
nah, she wasn't going to let me sit around the house. I mean, I was in my accident and I came home. I was in the hospital for 6 months in rehab and stuff because being a single mom, she would have had trouble getting me to therapy in and out of the car and stuff. And so she's kind of like, okay, you're going to be productive and do something, or I'm sending you to Byron, which is the nursing home at the time.
Geez.
Well, at FFA, we did stuff at Christmas. We sang carols or helped them with crafts. I knew I sure didn't want to go to that place. So going to Purdue is a lot nicer, being an IU fan even, so than going to Byron. So.
Oh, that's not a carrot. That's a big old stump being thrown at you. Don't go to Byron.
No.
Well, that is a carrot. It's just an interesting carrot to use.
But that was somebody else. My mom was huge, so strong woman. So,
well, you broached a subject, and it's March 13th, and we're in the middle of Big Ten basketball season.
Well,
and there's a few of us that have split allegiances. I'm not one of them. I'm thinking about Sam Malcolm's family with Malachi being such a IU fan. I don't know where he went wrong. I have said for several years that, and it sounds like blasphemy to some of our fellow graduates and alums, that the Big Ten needs IU basketball to be good, and it hasn't been. How do you feel about that as a lifelong IU basketball fan?
Oh, I agree, but it's just because I'm an IU fan. But they need structure. I mean, look at what we did in football. So anything's possible. So it gives Purdue fans a lot of hope. Hey, if IU football can win a national title, our basketball team, we're eventually going to get there. So, but IU. I mean, everybody blames coaches, but I blame the administration more than anything. The board of directors messed up and kept coaches too long. I mean, we could have Dusty May as a coach if Whitson would have left a year earlier. And heck, I knew Woody. And he was there a year too long. So I think it was more of an administrative problem instead of coaches and players and stuff like that. So.
How many times have you seen that similar event happen as you've been working in your career?
Oh, you see it all the time. I mean, just on the news this morning, a company, they're like, oh, we lost $33 million. And so, change leadership. And maybe they waited too long to do that. So you see that all the time in your personal jobs, and families do the same thing. I mean, you get the right leadership in. That's what happened to IU football. I mean, you got the right guy that looks for the right stuff, and teaches the right message. So
In a lot of your roles, you've come in as the outside consultant to help a student inside a school. So you've been a team of you and the teacher and the parents. How have you been able to handle making sure that your team worked well with that student when you might have not gotten as much support from the administration that you probably wanted or expected?
yeah, a lot of it's education. A lot of the parents, when they come to us, they're looking for advice and things. I'm still looking for advice and things with my coworkers and other professionals. I mean, we have trainings all the time. And then the same way with the administration. I mean, at the school, they're like, okay, we didn't know this or that, or they can't say money anymore with the ADA laws, but it has to be in the back of their minds or on their spreadsheet at least that, gosh, this is going to cost us a lot.
Yeah.
With cuts nowadays. So.
Well, you've used the word trust several times. And the challenge that I've seen over the years, you've definitely seen it, is to be trusting of someone means that you have to be vulnerable in yourself. But where's the fine line between vulnerability and the woe is me mentality?
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't. Yeah, because you have to be totally vulnerable as they are to send kids to school and that and open up, and I don't know that one.
The line's different for everybody.
Well, yeah.
You've already talked about it. You just tried to be Terry, the dude that drinks bush lattes like everybody else, because you're obviously vulnerable, but not destitute. That has to be one of the more frustrating things of working with children, breaking down that vulnerability so that they can trust you. Is it? Or is it easier with the children than it is with the parents?
It depends on what stage you get involved in. So, some of them have been burnt so many times that trust is so hard. And a lot of it is the parents as well. They just them home talking and that. Kids pick up on stuff, and so they're not trusting people if the parents don't trust people. And so it's a whole domino effect. So yeah, I would say the parents is the hardest because that's their babies. I mean, that's the first hurdle is the parents. So
If you think about back to raising those pigs in those huts, if something goes wrong in the hut, you either can't overcome it or it takes a long time to overcome that, a pig gets laid on and becomes a cripple or whatever. The sow doesn't eat and she doesn't milk well, and it takes an extra 10 days to get that pig to market. Or in the show pig, you get a cough in April, and by golly, he finally got over it in May, and we finally got weight on him by July.
Yeah.
You can see those consequences with kids where the one wrong word, one wrong sentence, one wrong expectation could set you back.
Yes, it does. And it's so hard for especially kids that are with a disability when they get behind and they just feel hopeless, and that there's where hopefully people like I can come in and other resources can come and boost them and help them get that plan to get them going again. And because it can be a snowball effect, and if I didn't have my mom there to push me, what would have happened? I would hope that I would have done it on my own, but you never know. So yeah, that's big, is having that support group around you. Just like when I started the conversation, is you need a support group that's there ready to be positive and support the kids and support the teachers, support all the resources. They all need help. So the parents, the kids.
Because it came from Hillary Clinton, people poo-poo it. But it does definitely take a village for us to raise, whether it's the FFA village, the 4-H village, the teachers. We're so interconnected in our lives that it does take a group of us to make sure that we are successful in life.
Yes, 100% agree with that.
You think about our dysfunctional group. I mean, our kids would not know the benefits of Sprite and Malibu and rum put together if it wouldn't been for Hoopy.
Yeah. Yes, you take the good and the bad, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Hoopy does a lot of good stuff.
Every village.
Hoopy does a lot of good stuff to help him out. My boys worked for him in high school, so they learned a lot of life lessons with Hoopy. So hard work and things like that made Nate go to college. So
that is one of the big benefits of 4-H and FFA. To become part of that group or part of that village, you just have to say hi, don't you?
With our group, that's all it takes, really is.
Yeah, and I think back to
very welcoming.
Yes, I think back to when the fair folk started. It was me and Kim in a horse trailer, and Jamie DeBolt in his old camper, and we both opened the door at the same time with a beer in our hand.
Yep.
And it's like, hey, you got a beer? Yeah, I got a beer.
Oh, and God, yes.
We just started talking. This is not a promotional for becoming alcoholics, but
you can have other things. Heck,
oh, yeah.
The grills back there in the group makes people come around just from the smell of it. So,
oh yeah, yeah.
I miss those days. The boys are out now, so I don't live at the fair like I used to. So.
One of the benefits I've seen recently, particularly at the state fair, that Nate has taken advantage of is handicap parking alongside the ring that you were able to engender with the wheelchair. I mean, it puts you in a perfect spot to watch those pigs.
Yeah, yeah. People will actually, most of them will get out of the way. You get your few that I'm sitting there and they all stand in front of me. I was like, really? Come on. But,
yeah. Hey, you 6'4" fat ass, get out of my way.
Hey, technology has changed now, though. My chair raises to where I can get a good 5'3", so.
Get a different perspective on those pigs.
Sure do. You sure do.
Hey, Nate, did you see this on the other side of that pig?
I was the best underline reader for a long time. So.
It's right there. Oh, boy. If you could distill the last 40 years of your life into a life lesson for us, and I mean us as in people that are associated with you, could you do it?
How much time would I have?
See, there's the answer. It's not a simple sentence.
No, it's not. And the main thing is stay positive and look forward. It's hard not to look back, but it's fun to look back at times too. I mean, look at our group. We still all talk about all the great days when we were in 4-H ourselves, but
yeah.
But boy, you got to try to find a positive there and look forward. So
I think those are lessons that we learn on the farm because farmers and farm life is inherently positive. You breed that boar to that sow in September. And you're like, hey, we're going to have pigs in January. And you're like, okay, this is what's going to happen. You drop that seed in the ground in April and May, and hey, this is what's going to happen.
And then life happens.
And then life happens and screws it all, or Mother Nature.
Mother Nature, yeah. And, you don't get it. So, yeah, you get challenges. And that's probably helped me a lot along the way, too. I mean, death and all that on the farm sure prepares you for some of those negative things that can happen to you down the road. So you brought up a good point there that, that farming disappointments, losses, eating that 4-H steer on that next winter after you butcher them. I mean, it doesn't numb you, but it prepares you for those things, I think.
It prepares you for realities of life.
Yes.
And some of us, unfortunately, Terry, you're the one that has more challenges than others. But the resiliency that we learned on the farm, I think that's what helped you find a positive
Oh,
in
yes.
some things.
I sure do.
Well, I hope this didn't turn into one of those, Terry, tell me what it's like living in a wheelchair.
No, I don't think.
It's neat watching you interact with your family and interact with other people because you embody the I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm just a guy that has a different way of getting around.
Well, good. Thank you. That's what I try to do.
Oh, you do a great job of it. You definitely do. Of course, you do take advantage of the parking spots.
Yes.
I don't blame you for that.
Yeah, Nate just had knee surgery yesterday. His ACL and LCL and one of those fraternity incidents, but carrying guys on his back. But so he's learning a life lesson now too. So.
Well, he's had you to watch, so
look for that positive nugget.
There you go. Yeah. Where's that blood coming from? Hell, I don't know.
That's actually happened.
Oh boy.
I broke my toe, my big toe, completely off practically, and ripped it, and I didn't even know it. And so,
were you doing something stupid with the wheelchair, or just life happened?
No, I was getting onto my lift on the truck, and started lifting it up, and the chair wasn't locked in, and so I fell off my lift, landed on the parking lot at Sam's Club, and the chair on top of me. And to your audience, if a guy in a wheelchair falls off his lift and the chair's on top of him, don't come up to him and say, "Can I help you?"
No, I got it. It's okay.
So
no, go on. Just stand there and take pictures.
but yeah, so I did get help in the parking lot, and I went to meet Tanya then for dinner, and she's like, "What the hell happened to you?" And I was like, "Oh, I just fell off the lift. I'm fine."
No big deal.
Yeah, she's like, "There's blood everywhere." So it's like when I broke my femur in a car accident, the EMS was like, "You're going to the hospital," and in the ambulance, I was like, "I just bit my tongue. What the heck? Why would I go to the hospital?" They're like,
I just bit my tongue.
"Your body is going to go in shock here in a couple of minutes, and we need to get you to the hospital. You broke your femur." So,
you were worried about biting your tongue.
Because I didn't know I broke my femur. So those are benefits. So let's look at the positive.
Wow. The positive side of it, yeah. Wow. When you were in that ambulance there, did you know by the time you got to the hospital that something big was wrong?
Well, yeah, because I went in shock. At Carroll Road and Johnson, down the road, they were like, they had to meet another EMS to give me a shot to keep my body from shutting down, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, it was bad.
Understatement of the interview.
Yeah.
It was bad. Well, on that note, Terry, we end every one of my interviews with 5 questions. And I'm really interested in your perspective being outside of ag for your daily work and how you'll answer them. So we'll get those 5 questions. The first one is, and we probably already talked about this, what's one lesson from ag you carry with you every day?
Like we just talked about, stay positive and look forward. You know, it's a different day tomorrow, so let's keep going.
If you could have coffee with any historical ag and agriculture, who would it be?
Man. I would have coffee or actually tea with my dad. So he passed away early. So that's who I would talk to.
And he passed away when you were how old?
I was a freshman at Carroll, so 13, right in there.
That's a great one. What is one quirky or underappreciated thing about agriculture more people should understand?
That farmers are always trying to do the right thing. I mean, everything is related to production and doing the right thing to get to be the most efficient. And people don't think that. They think they're out there hurting animals and this and that. And farmers are trying to do the right thing, or else they would be out of business. So.
What is your favorite ag-related tool, product, or innovation?
It's one that I haven't really used, but I would love to try it someday. Is disabilities, and get a lift to drive a tractor again. That would be pretty amazing. But I've never had the purpose yet to use that technology. But that would be something I would like.
That would fall into one of those unknown things about ag.
Yeah.
The agri-ability program. Yeah. What's one small change that can make a big impact on ag's future?
Small thing that can make a big impact. Nowadays it's find your niche, I think. And that's what I tried to do when I had my horse stud. Is you got to find a niche to be successful and to stay in the game, if you're not going to get gigantic. So just find your niche and try to be successful with that, and hopefully it'll keep you involved. So.
Well, Terry, this has been a great interview. Give us a little more insight into what makes Terry tick. I love your use of carrots and positivity with the people that you work with, the people that you associate with. I think those are lessons that we can use in and outside of ag as you're using. So thanks for taking time to talk to us today.
All right. Thank you for listening.